Chair, dignitaries, and all people gathered at this Congress. On behalf of the World Society of Victimology, I want to acknowledge the too many people who know exactly what it means to be a victim of terrorism. I want to express gratitude for the emergency services, frontline medical and other workers who, despite the dangers to themselves, strive to rescue victims and afford them first aid. The human toll of terrorism is sobering. The World Society of Victimology joins the United Nations in condemning all acts of terror. Everything must be done to protect and support the victims of such acts. We have much knowledge on what is important to them, yet we still fail too many. In international and regional law, as well as in many nations in their domestic law, victims have rights, for example, the right to access justice, the right to assistance and support immediately after a crime and for as long as necessary. Consistently, however, researchers and victims tell us that these rights are largely illusionary rather than real. The reasons are many and varied, but include police officers, prosecutors and judges' discretion to deny rights, and a lack of a meaningful remedy to enforce rights. For decades, the Society has advocated for stronger victims' rights. In 2010, it circulated a draft model convention on the rights of victims of crime, including terrorism, that has served as a useful tool in debates on strengthening victims' rights and fostering victim centricity, which requires a rights-based, needs-driven approach. The Society has drawn from the draft declaration to help various facets of the United Nations and its partners to draft principles and guidelines to assist victims of terrorism and to draft model legislation to protect victims of terrorism. Given the absence in many countries of comprehensive laws for the protection of victims of terrorism, the Society urges all member states to take heed of the model legislation when it is promulgated later this year. For too long, efforts to tackle terrorism have focused on investigating crimes and prosecuting and punishing the perpetrators. The focus must shift. Enhancing fairness and justice for victims requires a process of social change built on a balanced approach of legal advocacy, training and education, and public policy. Victims of terrorism should not have to struggle to have their basic needs met and fundamental rights fulfilled. Victims are crucial to the administration of justice, so it is incumbent on governments in collaboration and cooperation with civil society to ensure the protection of victims before, during and after criminal proceedings. Victims' lifelong rehabilitation is also vital. The coronavirus pandemic has, on the one hand, constrained conventional ways to deliver victim assistance, but on the other hand, led to creative and forward-thinking ways to ensure that when victims ask for assistance, providers can offer them choices. Choice is a key part of returning agency to victims. It is important that our knowledge base evolves, and we take heed of the lessons learned if we are to avoid doing further harm and to prevent the so-called second injury. The World Society of Victimology is looking forward to working with the United Nations, member states and others to improve support for victims of terrorism worldwide and help give victims a strong voice as well as to attain voice recognition. Thank you.